Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I got to go into work, so this is probably going to be a very short video, but I wanted to get this out before tonight's live stream. I'm reading this from Michelle Bowman's recent speech given November 28th, 2023, so just 6-7 weeks ago. Reflections on the Economy and Monetary Policies is the name of this speech. Now, this is something that I found very interesting as we think back to the COVID-induced recession, right? And the response coming from not only the government, but from the Federal Reserve in this intense monetary policy and fiscal policy response stimulus packages. It's just mind-numbing how much took place. We really have to think back to the response coming from the Federal Reserve preemptively to recessions. Think about this for just a moment. Look, I'm going to leave a link down in the description to the Federal Reserve chart for the Fed funds rate. Every vertical gray line you see is a recession. And if you notice, the Federal Reserve will lower the Fed funds rates prior to recession. So it's a preemptive response before the recession kicks in. Now, something that I found very interesting within this speech is what was taking place at the end of 2019. Was this very same response coming from the Federal Reserve. A preemptive to a recession. Not a COVID-induced recession. We weren't worried about a COVID-induced recession. Listen to this. This is coming directly out of the speech. The FOMC, which is the Federal Open Market Committee, these are the 12 members who vote on monetary policy. The FOMC maintained this range until the second half of 2019, and they were talking about lowering, they had increased interest rates. Sorry, I guess I should take it back a little bit. The Fed had increased interest rates all the way up until 2018, where they had plateaued off and they had stopped raising rates. Now, a lot of people said that that was the pivot, much like people are saying the pivot has taken place today. But they were just maintaining at that point. The pivot was about ready to occur. So this is really what she is referring to. The FOMC had maintained this range until the second half of 2019. Remember, the second half of 2019. COVID didn't hit until 2020. When the committee reduced the Fed funds rate by a total of 75 basis points. This is a dramatic drop in interest rates, again, at the end of 2019, or in the second half anyway. In response to moderating economic growth and inflation and global economic uncertainties related to expectations of lower U.S. growth. Nothing in that was in response to COVID. It was all in response to moderating economic growth and inflation and global economic uncertainties related to the expectations of lower U.S. growth. That's why they were lowering interest rates, the Fed funds rates. It's because they knew that the recession was coming. Right? Although the underlying issues were quite different, there were similarities to the issues we face today. So, did it not get fixed, or what's going on? At the time, the Federal Reserve was also in the process of normalizing the size of its balance sheet. Quantitative tightening was taking place at the time, and all of a sudden they stopped raising rates. Right? Actually started reducing them, going into a recession. COVID, the deepest, quickest recession in history. Does it not seem like they were preemptively getting ready for it because they knew? Right? This recession was going to come and then I'm not saying it got blamed on COVID, but COVID was a great opportunity for them to have the unusual and exigent circumstances to provide all the stimulus packages. Does it not seem convenient? I'm just saying, right? All right. At the time, the Federal Reserve was also in the process of normalizing its balance sheet. I think that's very important to understand because we're talking liquidity issues, and that's what we're facing today. Okay? You can see it all over the place. People are talking about it. And if you don't follow what it is that the Federal Reserve is stating, then you're going to misunderstand it, because almost always when people are talking about what the Federal Reserve should do, it's somebody's opinion on it. This is the person's opinion who is a voting member of the FOMC. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this speech down in the description. You can go and read it for yourself, or you can come back tonight on the live stream. It's a memberships only. Right? Join the channel. It's $1 a month. It only costs you $1, but it's everything to me. I am breaking this stuff down word for word, very much like what I just did for this paragraph. And like I said, you can go and read it for yourself, or you can join in on a community of people who are very serious about understanding this monetary policy for what it is. Not from the opinion of somebody who's trying to get your attention so they can sell their ads. I mean, I understand that when it comes to understanding this stuff, there is a lot of fear, and fear sells. And that's not what I am trying to do here. I am trying to clarify a very difficult understanding. Right? It's very complex. It's deep. Right? But it's not so deep and so complex that you can't figure it out. And once you start seeing this monetary policy for what it really is, then you can start responding to it in a way that's most appropriate to you. A lot of times people ask me, I need some real world examples of how this stuff helps me. Right? It helps you by internalizing it. You will just intuitively be making the right decisions for yourself. Nobody knows who you are. Right? And again, like if you are unable to break this stuff down, then you're left to the confusion of politics or some millionaire who does not see it from your point of view. So it's incredibly important to internalize this stuff, take it in for what it is. And here on this channel, this is exactly what we do. And if you want to learn more about it, you have questions that you want to ask. Again, if you join in on that live stream, you will have the opportunity to not only ask questions of me, but you can ask questions of the community, and the community loves to respond with honest opinions. We're not screwing around here. We're taking this stuff seriously. We need to know what it is that's going on here so that we can most appropriately respond to it. And the more we read through this stuff, the more you're going to understand it. Right? So again, I'm going to leave links down in the description to this speech. I'm going to leave a link down in the description to the Federal Reserve's Fed funds chart. You can see that they drop interest rates prior to recessions. So, if you hear the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates, that's generally not a good sign. That's a bad sign that's taken place. And we're going to explain throughout this speech what it is that's going on within the opinions of the voting members of the FOMC. The people who truly matter when it comes to monetary policy. Nobody else matters. They can have their opinions all day long. I can have my opinion all day long. It doesn't matter. Right? None of that stuff does. What does matter is what it is that they are going to vote. Right? That matters. And if we can get their opinions preemptively through their speeches, then this is how we're going to break it down. It's not exciting. It's not fun. Like doom and gloom is fun. Hearing about how your world is going to end is fun. I don't know why, but it is, right? People love scary. People hate boring. This is boring. But unfortunately, this is the way you need to internalize it if you want to be able to survive in this economy. If you want to thrive through it, if you want to make the most appropriate choices for yourself, you can't be listening to, blowing around in the wind, listening to every single economist out there who believes that they understand what the Federal Reserve should do as opposed to what it is that they are going to do by their own words, their own statements. And it's not my opinion. This is me just reading the Federal Reserve and breaking it down for you. And it's not even my opinion. All right. Okay, I got to go to work. Uneducated Economist, you let me know.